Chosen one, stop scrolling. You can feel it, can't you? Something in your spirit has been trembling, not from fear, but from recognition. It's like heaven has been holding its breath, waiting for the moment you finally realize what's happening. God is moving through you now, not next month, not next season, now. You're not just walking into a new chapter. You're walking into a divine assignment written before time began. Everything you've lost, every person who left, every delay that made no sense, it was all positioning. Heaven wasn't ignoring you, it was building you. And now the silence is breaking. You've reached the moment where the spiritual becomes visible, when destiny stops being a prophecy and starts becoming a plan. That restlessness you feel isn't anxiety. It's the vibration of purpose waking up in your bones. You're standing on holy ground, chosen one. And the move that's about to unfold will not be small. It will shift the way heaven and earth recognize your name. Ask yourself, can you feel that pressure? That inner pull that says, it's time, even when your mind doesn't understand why. That's God stretching you for something massive. It's not punishment. It's preparation, turning into propulsion. The door is open now, and it's your spirit that must step through first. You are not waiting for a miracle. You are the miracle heaven is sending. That's why the attacks were so intense. That's why your patience was tested to the limit. Because this next move isn't just about your blessing, it's about your becoming. You're about to carry something heaven has been waiting to release into the world. Don't underestimate the silence that came before this. It wasn't empty, it was sacred. It was the sound of God arranging everything in your favor while you thought nothing was moving. But it's moving now, it's happening now. Heaven is no longer whispering, it's commanding. The question is, are you ready to walk into what you prayed for? Because when God says go, hesitation becomes disobedience. This is not the time to second-guess your worth or question your readiness. This is the moment you say yes, trembling, unsure, but trusting. Heaven's orchestration has already begun. The only thing missing is your agreement. Chosen one, this is your confirmation. God is ready. The angels are aligned. The script is unfolding. And your name is written in the next line. It's time to move. It's time to believe. It's time to become. Heaven's massive move is already in motion, and you're standing in the center of it. Chosen one. There comes a moment when heaven stops preparing and starts activating. That moment is now. You've been feeling it for days, the strange stillness before a divine storm. The pressure in your chest that isn't fear, but frequency. Something in your spirit is unlocking. A vibration rising from within you that even words can't describe. That's what divine activation feels like. When the invisible begins to rearrange everything visible around you. For so long, you thought God was silent. But he wasn't absent. He was engineering. While you felt forgotten, he was fine-tuning the timing of your purpose. While you questioned the delay, he was aligning the details of your destiny. And now, the signal has gone out in heaven's language. It's time. Ask yourself, how many times lately have you felt something shift for no reason? A rush of emotion out of nowhere. A sense of déjà vu that makes your heart race. Moments where you stop mid-thought and feel that you're being watched, not by the world, but by heaven. That's not coincidence. That's confirmation. God has been waiting for your spirit to mature enough to hear instruction beyond words. That's what divine activation truly is. When you no longer need a sign, Because you are the sign. When you stop asking for proof and start walking in trust, heaven doesn't activate the unready. It waits for obedience to outweigh explanation. Chosen one, this activation didn't happen overnight. It's the result of every hidden season, every quiet prayer, every tear that hit the floor without an audience. You earned this moment through endurance. And now the rewards are beginning to manifest, not as possessions, but as power. The kind of spiritual authority that changes rooms when you walk in. The kind of clarity that exposes lies without you having to speak. The kind of peace that becomes your protection. Ask yourself, could it be that your entire life was building toward this spiritual ignition? That every no was heaven preserving you for this now? Because what's unfolding isn't random favor. It's divine recall. God is calling in everything He promised, everything you waited for, everything that was delayed because it was too soon. The divine activation begins when your spirit says yes without needing to see. And that's where you are. You've crossed the threshold of reasoning into revelation. You've moved from seeking signs to becoming one. And that shift, that holy surrender, is what makes heaven respond. Right now, angels are realigning your environment. People who no longer resonate with your new frequency will quietly fade. Opportunities that felt impossible will start finding you without effort. Your life will begin to synchronize with heaven's rhythm because you've finally tuned your heart to the right frequency. This is not a time to question. It's a time to move. You're not the same person who entered the last battle. You've been refined, recalibrated, and redefined. This activation isn't just about elevation. It's about revelation. You're beginning to see who you were all along, the chosen one, hidden until the appointed time. And that time is now. Ask yourself, what if the waiting wasn't delay, but design? Because God never wastes preparation. He hides you until exposure won't destroy you. And now, you've reached the point where your preparation has become permission. Heaven is ready to reveal you. So stand tall, lift your head. You are stepping into the hour heaven has been waiting for. You are walking into the manifestation of every whispered promise. And as you move, everything dormant inside you is awakening. The divine activation has begun. And this time, nothing can stop it. You've been released. You've been confirmed. You've been chosen. This is your ignition moment. Heaven is no longer testing you. Heaven is trusting you. Move like you've already been anointed, because you have. Chosen one, heaven's clock doesn't tick like the world's. Down here, people measure time by hours and days, but in the spiritual realm, time is measured by readiness. And now, the countdown in heaven has hit 0. The alignment is complete. The moment God has been preparing you for is colliding with the moment the world needs you most. You can feel it in your bones. The air feels heavier. The atmosphere feels charged. You wake up and sense something beyond routine, a quiet anticipation that refuses to fade. That's not anxiety. That's divine synchronization. Every invisible hand, every angelic force, every piece of your timeline is locking into place. Ask yourself, have you noticed how lately everything feels orchestrated, almost too precise to be coincidence? The people appearing out of nowhere, the opportunities aligning at perfect timing. Even the closed doors make more sense now, don't they? Because what once felt like rejection was actually redirection. Heaven wasn't saying no, it was saying not yet. You see, divine timing is not about delay, it's about precision. God never moves early because early ruins what only ripens with patience. He never moves late because late would break the blessing. He moves when both you and the miracle are equally ready. And right now, chosen one, both are in alignment. This is why the last few months have felt strange. Your energy has been in between, not where you were, but not yet where you're going. That's the feeling of heaven, shifting dimensions around your life. It's the sensation of the old timeline dissolving while the new one loads. And though you couldn't see it, heaven's code was already rewriting your story in the background. Ask yourself, could all the waiting have been divine strategy? Because when heaven converges, it does so with precision that no human could plan. The relationships that ended, the detours you took, the moments that broke you, they were all coordinates. Every heartbreak recalibrated your heart to heaven's signal. Every disappointment adjusted your direction toward destiny. Now, everything is aligning at once. You are stepping into a season where what once felt out of reach suddenly flows naturally, where effort decreases but impact increases. That's how you know you're in divine time, when grace starts replacing grind. Doors that resisted you will open effortlessly. Paths that confused you will now make sense. You'll walk into rooms you used to pray for and realize heaven already furnished them in your absence. Chosen one, heaven's timing is never rushed, but it's always right. You weren't delayed, you were being developed. You were being trained to handle what's about to arrive. Because this next level isn't just about blessing, it's about balance. The weight of your calling is real, and only maturity can carry it without collapse. That's why God took his time, not to make you wait, but to make you ready. Ask yourself, how many times did you pray for something that didn't happen, only to realize later it would have destroyed you if it had come too soon? That's divine mercy disguised as delay. God withheld not to punish you, but to preserve you. And now that preservation is turning into promotion. Heaven's hands are releasing what they've been holding. The signs are all around you. You're seeing numbers, hearing confirmations, feeling inner peace where there used to be panic. That's your spirit syncing with divine frequency. The angels are already moving. Your name is being whispered in rooms of opportunity. People are being positioned to meet you, to support you, to recognize you. You're not chasing alignment anymore. Alignment is chasing you, a chosen one. Don't mistake this calm for inactivity. It's the silence before the sound, the stillness before the surge, the convergence of heaven's plan with your preparation, the fulfillment of what you once thought had failed. So breathe. Don't rush the unfolding. You don't have to force anything now. You just have to walk in rhythm with what's already been written. You've reached the intersection of destiny and divine timing. And heaven itself is greenlighting your next move. You are where you're meant to be. Everything is happening exactly when it should. Heaven's timing has converged, and you are right on schedule. Why your preparation was so long and silent? Chosen one, you've wondered for years. Why did it take so long? Why did God make you wait when others seemed to move ahead? Why did the doors stay closed even when you knocked with faith? And why did heaven stay silent when you cried out the loudest? The answer is this: because what He's building through you couldn't be rushed. Divine preparation is not punishment. It's protection in disguise. When God hides you, it's not because you're forgotten. It's because you're fragile in your becoming. You are being shaped in a season where visibility would have killed the process. You were not ready to be seen until you learned to stand unseen. Ask yourself, how many times did silence make you question your worth? How many nights did you mistake God's quiet for absence? Because heaven's training is never loud. God doesn't teach you in applause, He teaches you in stillness. And it's in that silence that your soul learns the language of heaven, the ability to hear instructions no one else can detect. When the chosen are being prepared, their life looks like pause. You watched others rise, and you felt left behind. You gave your best, and still nothing seemed to move. But what you couldn't see was the foundation being fortified underneath you. God wasn't delaying your destiny. He was deepening it. Chosen one, you weren't waiting for opportunity. Opportunity was waiting for your capacity. You were growing roots strong enough to hold the weight of what's coming. Because a tree that grows fast breaks easily, but one that grows deep stands through every storm. And that's exactly what you've become: unshakable. Ask yourself, could I have handled what I was praying for back then? Would I have kept my peace if the blessing came before my healing did? Would I have honored the platform before learning humility in private? The truth is, your old self wasn't built for your new season. That's why the silence lasted so long. It wasn't wasted time, it was refining time. Heaven's preparation is sacred surgery. God removes what you thought you needed, not to hurt you, but to make room for what truly belongs. He allowed relationships to fade because your next chapter requires solitude. He closed certain doors because your anointing couldn't breathe in those rooms. And He silenced His voice at times because you needed to learn how to recognize His presence even when it spoke in whispers. Chosen one, that's the secret few understand. Silence is not the absence of God, it's His most intimate classroom. When He stops explaining, it's because He's expecting maturity. When He stops confirming, it's because He's already equipped you. You stopped hearing Him the old way because you started carrying Him the new way. You don't need confirmation when you've become communion. Ask yourself, how many lessons did the silence teach you that words never could? Because silence carved patience into your bones. It stripped away the noise of validation. It taught you to discern energy instead of emotion, truth instead of talk. You stopped chasing signs and started sensing seasons. And that shift is what qualified you for what's next. The long silence made you a master of alignment. Now you can feel when something is off without proof. You can sense when something's meant for you before it arrives. That's not intuition. That's training. Heaven trained your sensitivity through stillness. And now, that silence is ending. The time of hiddenness has expired. You're emerging from that secret place, not as a student, but as a vessel. Your voice carries authority because it was forged in the quiet. Your peace carries weight because it was purchased in isolation. Your presence shifts rooms because it was perfected in invisibility. Chosen one, your preparation was long because your calling is large. God was never just preparing you for comfort, He was preparing you for command. The silence wasn't a pause, it was prophecy in progress. Every delay was divine editing. Every no was an invisible yes redirected, and every lonely night was a conversation between your spirit and destiny. So no, it didn't take too long. It took exactly as long as it needed to. You're not behind schedule, you are the schedule. And heaven waited until now because only this version of you could handle what's about to unfold. The silence was your cocoon. And now, the wings you prayed for are ready. Fly. Chosen one, if the warfare has intensified lately, don't panic, rejoice. That pressure you're feeling isn't a sign that something's going wrong. It's the confirmation that something massive is about to break through. Every chosen one faces this moment. The storm that rises right before the sunrise. It's the sacred pattern of heaven. Resistance always increases before release. You've probably asked yourself, why is everything attacking me at once? Because the closer you get to your divine opening, the more the enemy panics. He doesn't fear who you were. He fears who you're becoming. He can feel the shift in your spirit before you even step into it. And his only weapon now is distraction, hoping to make you quit before heaven's doors swing open. Ask yourself, why would resistance show up now after all this time? Why, when I'm finally finding peace, does everything start shaking again? Because your breakthrough is creating a disturbance in the spiritual realm. Your obedience is sending shockwaves through darkness, and every force that used to control your environment is realizing it's losing grip. Chosen one, the resistance is evidence of your progress. The greater the calling, the greater the friction. You're not being attacked because you're weak. You're being opposed because you're effective. Every delay, every argument, every sudden confusion, it's the enemy's disastrous attempt to block what's already been signed in heaven. But it's too late. The seal has been placed. What's written can't be rewritten. This is the spiritual pattern of breakthrough. First comes pressure. Then comes pruning. Then the promise. But the pressure is not meant to destroy you, it's meant to define you. God uses resistance as a mirror to show you your own strength. He allows the waves to rise, so you remember you can walk on them. Ask yourself, how many times did you think you were breaking down, only to realize later you were breaking through? That wasn't collapse, that was transformation. Heaven has been testing your stability under pressure because the platform you're about to stand on can't afford cracks. The shaking you feel is not punishment, it's construction. He's rearranging the structure of your spirit so that it can hold the weight of new blessings. Chosen one, the enemy attacks hardest when heaven promotes quietly. That's why the confusion has been so sudden. It's not chaos, it's camouflage. While the enemy focuses on distracting you, God is finalizing details behind the veil. The warfare was never about destruction. It was about distraction. Because if you lose focus, you delay destiny. But if you stay still, you win without fighting. You're not fighting for victory, you're fighting from victory. The outcome has already been settled. The resistance is not a wall, it's a test of endurance. Heaven wants to see if you'll still move when everything says stop. Will you still trust when you can't trace? Will you still praise when you can't predict? That's the measure of a chosen one. Ask yourself, can I recognize this chaos for what it truly is? Because the enemy only resists what he can't replace. He knows once you cross this line, you'll never go back. So he tries to make the line look dangerous. He tries to make progress feel painful. But that pain is actually the sound of your old limits breaking apart. Chosen one, resistance is heaven's gym. It strengthens what success will require. Every confrontation is a classroom. Every trial is training for the throne. You're learning how to stand when the ground shakes, how to see when the fog thickens, how to trust when the noise is deafening. And when this storm passes, because it will, you'll realize that resistance wasn't your enemy. It was your initiation. You are being prepared to lead through turbulence. You are being molded to carry peace in the middle of war. You are being sculpted into someone the world cannot intimidate anymore. This is what breakthrough feels like. Pressure on every side, but purpose in the center. It's heaven's way of stretching your capacity to hold more light. Ask yourself, what if this chaos isn't the devil attacking, but God stretching? Because you can't pour new wine into old vessels, and you can't carry new blessings in old beliefs. That's why it hurts. Not because you're losing, but because you're expanding. Chosen one, breathe. The storm isn't your end, it's your entrance. The shaking isn't your failure, it's your final test. You've reached the threshold where old patterns die and new power awakens. Hold your ground, stay silent, stay sure. Heaven is watching to see one thing. Will you trust the process when it stops making sense? Because that's how breakthroughs are born. Not in noise, but in knowing. Not in control, but in surrender. And once this wave passes, you'll look back and say, that wasn't resistance. That was my rebirth. The war is proof that the promise is near. You're not losing. You're launching. How to recognize God's massive move over your life. Chosen one, when God begins to move in your life, it rarely starts with celebration. It starts with disruption. The very ground beneath your feet begins to shift. People fall away. Plans collapse. What once felt stable starts shaking. And if you're not spiritually awake, you might mistake the move of God for the loss of control. But that shaking, that confusion, that sudden change of direction, that is the move. Heaven never rearranges without purpose. When God moves massively, it doesn't look clean or comfortable. It looks like dismantling. Because before he multiplies, he must make space. Ask yourself, what in my life is suddenly being moved, changed, or removed? That's where God's fingerprints are. He isn't destroying your life, he's decluttering it. He's removing the counterfeit blessings that couldn't carry your calling. He's clearing out what was small so he can pour in what's sacred. Chosen one, the first sign of a massive move is divine interruption. When what used to work suddenly stops working, heaven is signaling it's time to shift dimensions. You didn't lose alignment, you outgrew it. That job that no longer fits, that friendship that feels distant, that opportunity that suddenly slipped away. They didn't fail. They fulfilled their purpose. They were never meant to last forever. They were meant to lead you here. When God moves, he hides elevation inside endings. He dresses breakthroughs in disguise. You think you're being buried, but you're actually being planted. The same soil that covers you will soon carry you. Ask yourself, why does peace feel so strange lately? Because your spirit is adjusting to a higher altitude. Heaven has already raised your frequency, and your physical world is still catching up. You're feeling the stretch between what was and what's becoming. That's not discomfort. That's transformation. Chosen one, the second sign of a massive move is divine acceleration. Things start happening too fast to make sense. What took years before now happens in days. Connections form out of nowhere. Doors open before you even knock. You start seeing repeating numbers, hearing confirmations, crossing paths with the right people at the right moment. That's not random. That's divine choreography. Heaven's timeline has intersected with your obedience, and now everything is syncing. You'll also notice the third sign, divine awareness. Suddenly you understand things without explanation. You can sense truth before it's spoken. You can feel when something's aligned and when it's not. This is spiritual maturity, when discernment replaces dependency. You're no longer chasing confirmation from the outside because the voice within you has become unmistakable. Ask yourself, could I be in the middle of the miracle I used to pray for, but just too focused on control to notice? Because the move of God doesn't always announce itself with lightning. Sometimes it whispers, sometimes it hides in ordinary days. Small choices, quiet moments. Heaven doesn't need to be loud to be life-changing. Chosen one, the fourth sign of a massive move is divine discomfort. God will shake the places you once called home, not because he wants to hurt you, but because he can't let you shrink back into who you were. He'll stir your spirit until you can no longer tolerate mediocrity. You'll start craving depth, truth, solitude, silence. That's heaven, detoxing your soul from everything that numbed your purpose. The ache you feel isn't emptiness, it's expansion. The fifth sign, divine visibility. People begin to notice you differently. You haven't changed your appearance, but your presence carries weight. You walk into rooms and energy shifts. That's the light of transformation breaking through the surface. You're glowing because obedience radiates. You're being recognized because heaven is ready to showcase what it built in silence. Ask yourself, what if the changes around me aren't chaos, but confirmation? Because every pattern of loss you've endured was heaven's way of making space for something far greater. What you think you're walking away from is nothing compared to what's walking toward you. Chosen one, God's massive moves rarely feel like miracles at first. They feel like confusion, exhaustion, even fear. But that's how you know it's him. Because only heaven can dismantle your comfort to deliver your calling. This is not the time to resist. This is the time to release. Stop asking to understand what you were born to trust. Stop clinging to what was when heaven is inviting you into what will be. Everything is shifting because everything is aligning. The move is not coming. The move is happening. And when the dust settles, you'll see it clearly. Every delay, every loss, every detour was the divine choreography of a miracle too big to rush. Chosen one, heaven is not preparing anymore. It's performing. The stage is set, the lights are rising, and your cue has just been called. It's happening now. Step forward, because the move has already begun. Chosen one, in this sacred moment, God isn't asking for more effort. He's asking for obedience, not loud faith, not public declarations, just quiet, consistent alignment with what he's whispering to your spirit. Because when heaven reaches this level of movement, obedience becomes the currency of miracles. This is not the time to question, it's the time to listen. Every instruction that comes to you now, no matter how small or strange, carries divine timing behind it. The direction you feel tugging at your heart isn't random. It's a coded message from heaven saying, "Follow me. I'm leading you somewhere new." The next door won't open because you shouted loud enough. It will open because you obeyed quietly. Ask yourself, how many times did I delay my own miracle by overthinking God's instruction? Because obedience doesn't need explanation, it needs execution. God's ways are higher because they're hidden. And when you move on His cue without needing the full map, you prove you trust the navigator. Chosen one, obedience is heaven's favorite form of worship. It's the bridge between revelation and manifestation. You can pray for years, but one act of obedience can accomplish what 1,000 prayers cannot. Why? Because prayer asks, but obedience activates. It tells heaven, "I trust you enough to move even when I don't see." And that kind of trust triggers divine acceleration. This hour, right now, is sacred. The spiritual climate around you is charged. Heaven's machinery is in motion. Your angels are waiting for your yes. Not tomorrow, not when it feels convenient. Now. Because delayed obedience is disobedience in disguise. Ask yourself, do I really believe that God knows what He's doing with my life? Because if you did, you wouldn't hesitate to follow His lead. You'd realize He's not trying to control you, He's trying to crown you. Every instruction He gives is an invitation into greater power. Each "do this and let that go" is a step into your next dimension. Chosen one, obedience is your strategy in this hour. The enemy's goal is not to make you evil. It's to make you indecisive. He wants you to hesitate long enough for divine timing to pass. But heaven's move is happening in real time. When you feel that inner nudge, go. When you sense it's time to release something, let go. When your spirit says, "Not this," trust it and step back. Obedience sharpens discernment. Hesitation dulls it. Ask yourself, what small act of obedience is heaven waiting on from me right now? Because sometimes it's not a big leap that unlocks destiny. It's a small yes. It's deleting that number, closing that door, applying for that opportunity, posting that word, forgiving that name. Every act of obedience sends ripples through the spiritual realm. You move, heaven responds. You trust, the path appears. You surrender, miracles unfold. Chosen one, understand this. Obedience is the sound of authority. The enemy only fears the ones who obey instantly, because he knows their lives are synchronized with divine command. That's what makes you unstoppable. Your ability to move when God speaks, not when you understand. The chosen who walk in obedience carry a power the enemy can't decode. They move in silence yet shake dimensions. And this is why obedience in this exact hour is critical. You are not just living through a season. You are living through a summoning. Heaven is calling you into a higher assignment. You are being positioned for influence that requires precision. And the only way to stay aligned is to respond immediately to divine direction. Ask yourself, am I still waiting for signs, or am I moving by spirit? Because signs confirm the start. Spirit directs the journey. You are past the beginner's stage now. God isn't sending constant reminders anymore because He trusts your maturity. He's expecting you to recognize His tone without the thunder. Chosen one. The reward for obedience is not just blessing, it's clarity. Each step you take in trust unlocks the next instruction. It's a divine treasure map. One obedient move reveals the next destination. That's how heaven works. Revelation follows response. So listen carefully in this hour. Pay attention to the small whispers, the subtle signs, the quiet promptings. Heaven isn't shouting, it's guiding. And your obedience, right now, will decide how high this next elevation takes you. Don't let fear delay your destiny. Don't let logic cancel what faith already confirmed. Move, obey, trust, because in this hour, every chosen one who moves on heaven's instruction will witness something the world calls impossible and heaven calls inevitable. Chosen one, there comes a moment in every divine story when heaven stops preparing you and begins revealing you. That moment has arrived. The mantle is no longer in waiting. It's resting on your shoulders now. The calling you once prayed for, the purpose you thought was still ahead of you, it's live. You're walking in it right now, even if it doesn't feel like it yet. You see, heaven never announces the activation with a trumpet. It happens quietly, almost unnoticeably. One day, you wake up and realize you can't move the same way anymore. Your words carry more weight. Your presence changes the atmosphere. You feel the gravity of something sacred. That's the mantle. It's not visible cloth. It's divine authority woven into your energy. Ask yourself, have you noticed how people react differently to you lately? Some draw near. Others distance themselves for no reason. That's not confusion, that's separation. The mantle attracts alignment and exposes resistance. You don't have to chase connections anymore. What's meant for your anointing will recognize it. Chosen one, this new mantle carries both glory and responsibility. It doesn't just elevate you, it refines you. It will demand new discipline, new stillness, new discernment. You can't respond to life the same way you did before. Your reactions now echo in realms you cannot see. One careless word can shift energy. One obedient act can open heaven. This is the level you've reached, where your alignment controls atmosphere. Ask yourself, do I realize how much power I now carry in silence, in presence, in intention? Because with great anointing comes greater accountability. You're not called to prove this power. You're called to steward it. The mantle isn't for show, it's for service. It's God saying, you've passed the tests of waiting, of warfare, of silence. Now walk as my representative. Chosen one, heaven trusted you with this mantle because you've been refined in fire and didn't curse the flame. You didn't let the darkness harden your heart. You kept loving when you had every reason to close off. You kept believing when logic screamed to stop. That's why this mantle fits you now, because humility became your armor. And though the mantle brings weight, it also brings ease. Things that used to drain you will no longer touch you. Battles that used to frighten you will now bore you, because your spirit has risen to a frequency where lower energies can't survive. You no longer fight from earth upward. You fight from heaven downward. That's the power of stepping into divine identity. Ask yourself, can I walk in quiet confidence without seeking recognition? Because the chosen with real mantles don't chase spotlight, they become light. Your influence won't come from being seen. It'll come from being felt. The way you carry yourself, the way you speak, the peace you bring. That's how heaven markets its ambassadors. Chosen one, this is not the time to shrink. It's the time to stand. The mantle requires posture, shoulders back, spirit steady, eyes forward. Not arrogance, but awareness. Not pride, but power. You don't need to announce what you've become. Your energy does that for you now. Everywhere you go, people will sense something different, a presence they can't define. That's heaven walking with you. Your footsteps are now prophetic. Your existence is evidence of answered prayer. Every move you make sends signals into the unseen, shifting things for people you'll never meet. This is the weight of destiny, and you're carrying it well. Ask yourself, do I understand that this calling isn't future tense anymore? Because God isn't preparing to use you, He is using you. This is your moment of embodiment. You've crossed the line between potential and purpose. You've gone from waiting to walking, from asking to activating. Chosen one, heaven has declared, the calling is live. You are no longer under instruction. You are under commission. You're not studying the mission anymore. You are the mission. Your life is now a sermon. Your peace a prophecy. Your presence a portal. So move with intention. Speak with grace. Love with authority. And wherever you go, remember this. The mantle is not heavy for the one who's built to carry it. You are built for this. Every scar was tailored for strength. Every tear was turned into oil. Every delay was designed to increase your depth. Now heaven has said, go. You've graduated from waiting rooms to war rooms. You've moved from prayers to performance. The mantle is live, and every step you take from here on out is a divine broadcast. Proof that God's promises were real all along. Walk boldly, chosen one. The mantle has found its match. Chosen one, you can feel it. The atmosphere has shifted. Something sacred is happening across the earth. It's not just you awakening, it's all of us. The veil between heaven and the physical is thinning, and the chosen are hearing the same call echo in their spirits. It's time. For years you carried your light in secret. You walked through shadows no one saw, fought battles in silence, prayed prayers that tore through dimensions. And now, heaven has sounded the release. The era of hiding is over. The chosen are being unleashed. This is the divine convergence, the moment when every hidden vessel, every silenced prophet, every unseen intercessor rises at once. Like stars that appear after the longest night, the chosen are lighting up every corner of darkness. You've been trained for this moment, not to fit in, but to stand out, not to blend with the world, but to transform it. Every pain refined your empathy. Every wound deepened your wisdom. Every lonely night turned into a conversation with God that prepared your soul to carry light without pride. Ask yourself, why do I feel this unshakable pull to move differently now? Because you're being activated alongside others who carry the same code. You're part of a spiritual army, moving in perfect silence, guided by one commander. And though you may never meet all of them, your spirits already know each other. You're connected by frequency, the vibration of obedience. Chosen one, the unleashing doesn't look like chaos. It looks like clarity. It looks like peace replacing panic. It looks like alignment replacing confusion. God is not sending you into the world to argue. He's sending you to embody. Your life will preach what words no longer can. Your peace will disarm conflict. Your compassion will dismantle hate. You won't need to fight. Your frequency will fight for you. Ask yourself, am I ready to move as proof, not just prophecy? Because this next wave of chosen ones won't talk about God. They'll demonstrate Him. Miracles will follow their silence. Breakthroughs will follow their obedience. Everywhere they go, systems will shake, hearts will open, and divine timing will accelerate. The world will not understand it, but heaven will rejoice. This is the global unveiling. The chosen ones taking their positions across nations, each carrying a different flame, but the same fire. The fire of purpose. The fire of truth. The fire that refuses to die, no matter how dark the world becomes. You've carried that fire for so long, hidden beneath survival. But now the world needs it. And heaven is saying, release it. Chosen one, this is the final revelation. You were never meant to rise alone. Your story is one thread in a divine tapestry that spans the earth. When you step forward, others feel it. When you speak truth, others awaken. When you move in obedience, others find courage. You are part of a chain reaction of light. And that's why the timing is now. Because the world is finally dark enough for your light to be seen. Ask yourself, can I feel the global pulse of heaven rising? Because it's happening. Empaths are awakening. Healers are remembering. Prophets are returning. The chosen are stepping into the stage of destiny not as individuals, but as instruments of one great movement. This isn't about religion. It's about resonance. It's about heaven expressing itself through human form. And you, yes, you, are one of its chosen vessels. You were designed for this generation. Every hardship, every heartbreak, every holy delay brought you to this hour. And now the Creator whispers, go, shine, speak when I say speak, rest when I say rest, move when I say move. Chosen one, you are the fulfillment of ancient prophecy, the living proof that heaven never stopped working through humanity. The world will not crown you, but heaven already has. The angels have taken their positions. The divine scrolls are being opened, and the names written on them are being called, yours included. You are not stepping into destiny. Destiny is stepping into you. You are no longer waiting for permission. You are the permission. You are the evidence that faith was never in vain. So rise now. The gates of heaven have opened. The chosen are being unleashed. The earth is trembling with anticipation. And your spirit knows it's true, because it has been waiting for this sound since the beginning of time. Go forth, chosen one. Carry the fire. Move with humility. Speak with authority. Love without measure. Because heaven's plan is alive, and it's moving through you.